as that extremely unshocking Russia report revealed that Putin's spooks interfered so egregiously in the 2014 independence referendum that they didn't get the result they wanted, and Scotland stayed in the United Kingdom. Quite why Boris tried to keep this blander than bland dossier under wraps remains a mystery. But it did confirm that those pesky Ruskies spend a lot of time and effort trying to get up to no good. Meanwhile, after experts warned the government that the 5G deal with Huawei was China's techno ticket to snoop, Britain finally called the whole thing off. Big surprise, turns out that the boys from Beijing do not have our best interests at heart, and they'll stop at nothing to penetrate our national secrets. But while these foreign superpowers play dirty tricks on us, do the UK's secret agents really play a straight back on the basis that underhand spying methods are simply not cricket? Let's ask security expert Will Geddes. Hi, Will.
Good morning, Kevin.
Yeah, my contention is this. Yes, these foreign powers, particularly Russia and China, get up to all sorts of dirty tricks to mess us around. But I don't believe that we sit there doing nothing to them. Do we do dirty tricks as well?
We all do, Kevin. I mean, it's really down to the length and degree of what we actually do or what is sanctioned by the taskmasters or the handlers of those particular operators. But a lot of intelligence agencies around the world will use the same capabilities or the same tradecraft to gather intelligence, whether it be against that opposing state or whether it be in terms of understanding a little bit more about how they're infiltrating our country and trying to influence business, politics, and other matters.
Yeah, you see, I think, of course, much more about this than I do, but I think we're good at this stuff. I mean, James Bond and all that. This is where spying started. This is the home of international spying. We have a reputation for being good at it. I hope we're giving as good as we get, and I suspect that we are. And when you come to that accusation made this week that Britain fell asleep at the wheel and stopped being vigilant about the Russian spy operation, surely our intelligence services don't want to advertise exactly what we're up to, and maybe sending that message that we're complacent and not really bothering is quite a good thing to cover up what we're really up to.
Well, it's a perfect kind of disinformation, isn't it? It's feeding the enemy with an entirely different perspective. But, one of the biggest blockages, Kevin, that's really always been a hindrance to us in the UK has been the political influence. I mean, and one of the things that came out, obviously, of this Intelligence Security Committee's report is that our legislation and particularly our controls are very, very weak and have to be revised. And the Official Secrets Act has got bigger holes that you could drive a truck through, and that we really need to update ourselves to the same sort of levels that the US are using, like the Foreign Agent Registration Act, which allows us to be able to document and control those that are recognized by us. So in every country around the world, there will always be intelligence agencies operating out of embassies that will talk to their counterparts. And quite often it can be quite convivial, but there are occasions where there will be sort of black ops types of operations. And there are three categories of spies, if you like: the declared, the undeclared, and the black ops. And the black ops, to give some concept of that, would be like, for example, the Skripal's assassination in Salisbury, where you've got individuals coming in under the wire, carrying out nefarious activities.
So, presumably, like the Russians, the Chinese, the Americans, and every other nation, our British foreign embassies are full of trade envoys who are actually spies.
Well, there are some that are and some that aren't, and it depends on whether they're attached to the military or defense attaché or in some other capacity. But you know what? It's very rare that an agent can actually get into a particular country without it being picked up by the domestic intelligence agency, without them knowing, albeit not confirmed. And this is where this Foreign Agents Registration Act really comes into effect, because where we're placed right now in the UK is the way that our structure of being able to prosecute or arrest foreign agents is so weak that we have to wait for them to actually come into possession of that intelligence and have it in their hands. And when you look at the Chinese and the Russians, they're very, very clever. And that's not to say that we don't use the same tradecraft of recruiting individuals. I mean, there was an individual, Dixon Yeo, last week who got prosecuted in the US, who had set up basically a network of recruiting under the guise of a recruitment agent individuals from military and government agencies that had high security clearance and using them to disclose various information. But there are honey traps, there's financial incentives, there are positions on boards of Chinese companies, there are all sorts of different ways that you can recruit individuals. But here in the UK, we unfortunately have to wait until we've got literally the smoking gun in the agent's hand before we can do something about it. And if you've got someone like Russia, they probably don't really care anyway.
So the Russians at one point, as we know only too well, sent over a couple of agents who tried to kill the Skripals with that Novichok attack in Salisbury, but in fact did end up being responsible for the death of the British citizens. So they go around, if necessary, killing people. Would the British do such things? I mean, I'm thinking of Osama bin Laden. I know that was American, but I think we had some involvement on that. Are we above going around the world and assassinating people we think are dangerous to our national interest?
Well, that's a very difficult question to answer, Kevin, as you can probably imagine. But let's just say that there are divisions within every intelligence agency around the world. Here in the UK, we used to have a unit called the Increment. That now goes by another name. In the US, they have the Special Activities Division. And that is very similar to, for example, the GRU, which is a military-stroke intelligence operation, utilizing special forces operators to carry out interesting works, shall we say.
Interesting works, yeah. Killing people. What I think, I'm not trying to be unpatriotic here, quite the reverse. I hope our spies are ruthless, sneaky, and every bit as underhand as the Russian spies and the Chinese spies are. Can I be confident to at least believe that I'm partly right or fully right there?
Well, let's say without the political hindrance, Kevin, you are right. The British have pretty much set the standard around the world. British intelligence, whether that be MI6 or associated agencies, have worked with foreign governments to help them set up their intelligence networks, how to collate and gather information, how to recruit sources, how to turn agents, that sort of thing. So, we pretty much wrote the book originally on this, and I think we're still pretty much well-beating class.
Excellent. That's all I needed to know, Will. Thank you very much. Cheers, Will. Take care. That was security expert Will Geddes on why the British are no slouch when it comes to underhand spying, as well as the Chinese and the Russians. The name is O'Sullivan, Kevin O'Sullivan, 003 and a half, and this is Talk Radio.